Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today I want to go ahead and highlight Tri-Brigades with one of the newer cards that recently came out, and I just want to go ahead and mouse over it really quick. So the new card is Kit, and actually opens up the doors for a lot more plays for the Tri-Brigade archetype. There's also a few different variants I want to show you guys. This one over here is going to show you guys kind of the basic turn 1 play that you want to go ahead and open up with. That is primarily going for your Appaloosa as quickly as possible so you can prevent your opponent from activating any other hand traps or stuff like that. Then you make the Simorgh Bird. Don't worry if it was kind of fast with this first duel, as I'll show you guys more interactive ones, but that's what you're going to be trying to do, is locking your opponent out. You can actually open up even more insane than this. You can actually open up with the Ancient Warriors Link Monster and have another disruption, and if you add the Lu Feng, which is another newer card that recently came out, this build is actually very powerful, and I feel like it's kind of one of those underrated decks right now, I would say, in Yu-Gi-Oh, and it's definitely something to look out for. So again, this is just like kind of like the example of what you want to try to do, is lock your opponent out of summoning anything except for like win monsters via special summoning, which pretty much gives you the auto win in a lot of different circumstances, as well, this card is pretty good on its own, but if you can lock them out even harder, yeah, it's great. But I'm going to show you guys what can happen maybe if your opponent happens to have something that's really good. In this instance over here, we see the Dimension Shifter being an excellent card in the matchups as well. I'm going to show you guys kind of what the deck can do. Maybe if it goes second, it has to deal with someone else's board that already does exist. But again, this card pretty much destroys Lyrical Lusicna, Tri-Brigades, because they need to have the cards in the graveyard. It's basically like a turn 1 macro defisher, or whatever you want to call it. It basically stops them from getting stuff. But remember, once this card goes to the grave, everything else is going to be extra fodder. So if you guys haven't seen what the Tri-Brigade archetype does, and this is the one new card that really helps out because it's able to send another Tri-Brigade card, which can actually give you extra protection with Rendezvous. Okay, so this is the card that I wanted to mention, and I'll pause it really quick for 1 second. So interestingly enough, you can make cards for the Tri-Brigades that normally would require other specific cards. Like this says 2 Beast Warrior monsters, including a Wind Ancient Warriors. You can just ignore that completely with the Tri-Brigade's effects to go ahead and just banish those cards and then special summon a Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast Link Monster from your extra deck. So you can basically, in a sense, you're ignoring the summoning conditions of the card, if that kind of makes sense, even though it doesn't have it on the text. You're basically doing that. This card has a quick effect where you get to send 1 card from your hand or field to the graveyard, target a face-up card your opponent controls, and bounce it back. And on top of that, this lets you add an Ancient Warriors card from your deck to your hand. So if you want to, some people are opting not to play it, but you can go for Lu Feng, which grants you easy OTK plays with this deck, especially if you are going into a board that your opponent might happen to have. And especially since it's a quick effect, you can deal with boards even harder. And on top of that, the Tri-Brigade archetype already has the ability to get rid of, I would say on average, you can get rid of 2-ish by just going over your Link monsters for the stepping stones. So he just goes ahead and says GG, because like you can't really do anything against this. This card, it just beats decks on its own pretty much by itself. And then on top of that, you have the Simorgh Link monster, which makes it so your opponent can't target this card or Winged Beast monsters this card points to with card effects. So it makes things a little bit more difficult, especially for those players that just, you know, can't really do anything other than targeting it. But now we're going to go ahead and see another duel up over here. This is a different variant. There's a lot of different builds over here that I want to show you guys here. So this is N3s, and shouts to all the people piloting these decks, because I think it's a unique mix-up. So pretty much what you can do, and I also want to mention, is Harpy Conductor can also be made. It just requires wind monsters. But the reason why you want to actually play this is there are a few other trap cards that you can run. In this variant, you're just seeing it for, I need to check the Harpy Feather Duster, right? But there is another card. I'll go over it in a moment here, but I just wanted to go and pause it so you guys can see what you can do. Again, this is like the primary play turn 1, that if you can make it, it's game over on its own. I just want to show you guys that you can also end the turn grabbing a Nerval over here, which just allows you to extend your plays later down the line, because I want to show you guys kind of the ins and outs. There's also the Desperate Doom Eagle. So it gains 2400 target while your opponent has no monsters in their graveyard, which is kind of meh. But the quick effect is you can target 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard and shuffle it back into the deck. So a lot of other cards that would, let's say, like Foolish, and you know, you can go for other plays, and this card can be one of those cards where you can are able to get rid of like a very high attack monster. It's just another option for you guys that I just don't have any other gameplay that showed off this card. That's why I'm showing off this gameplay over here. But I got a lot. In fact, I have so many over here. Now this one is more so focused around the Ancient Warriors. You can mix them in together. Another card that is kind of good is Guan Yun. So he's almost like a Picatrops, if you will, for them. So if your opponent controls a monster, you can just slam that card back onto the board, and they can't target other Ancient Warriors you control with card effects. But if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you get to target one monster your opponent controls and just pop it. So you don't even have to get rid of like your own card, and then this card can be used as later fodder material, and you can also just search it out with, of course, the Link monster. You can see now he's going to go ahead and be able to activate that in pure order, but it's going to be bounced right back. And here's the double Dragon Lords. So this card over here makes it so the Ancient Warriors gain some stats, but again, most people are opting not to play too many Ancient Warriors. Most people that are playing it are just playing Lu Feng. But this card has this awesome quick effect, again, that you can send one card from your hand or field to the graveyard, and then you'd be able to get rid of another face-up card. And then Lu Feng over here is able to, once per turn in the main phase, quick effect, you destroy the face-up monster opponent controls with the highest attack, if it's tied to your choice, which is really awesome. So you have a disruption not only with the Link monster, the Ancient Warriors, and again, you don't have to actually use Ancient Warriors to go for it. You have just one disruption over here. But keep in mind, this card does have the effect where you can't activate other monsters' effects the turn you activate this, except for Ancient Warriors. So if you do want to use this, make sure it's the last thing that you have an option to go for. I'd go through your other effects first, basically. But I've seen a lot of people mix them up. I'm not sure if I'd play a lot of the Ancient Warriors in here. If I want to take the deck a little bit seriously, but like I said, I got a huge amount of duels. What the heck is this? I didn't even see what this guy was piloting here, but it looks wild. We got Dino Mermails. I always love seeing like mix-ups and things, but there's just other plays that I want to show you guys. Some of these are just used to actually get more winged beasts into the grave, as they're all just free extra cards, and the deck has insane consistency. Like, I was watching this deck and pretty much it did not lose throughout the entirety of the night, unless if we're talking about like the guy would set up so many negates to where this deck literally doesn't get to function. On like most of the times, if you make this is an auto win on its own, but you can see now he's able to go ahead and just bounce that card right back to hand, and he's gonna go ahead and have to say GG's, because like, what do you do in this scenario? Yeah, you can go for Miscellaneous Source. He activates DD Crow, and this is what's so nice with the deck, and this is something I want to mention since it was in this gameplay, is this is the hand trap that you want, because it's another fodder for an extra like Link part of another monster, because you just get to use your graveyard as like free material, which I think is really OP. But this one is going to be an OCG match, because we also have Crossout Designator, which it was supposed to be in the Ice Barrier structure deck, but since it's not, well, I don't know when we're getting the card, but it doesn't really matter. There's also technically another OCG card. I'll mention it once we get to it, but it won't matter for the gameplay. Like, if you want to build this deck and you're a TCG player, you can build it totally fine without, Crossout Designator. It's just another, like, anti-hand trap. Plus, there's another card, but it won't matter, I promise. Anyways, so we see the Turquoise Warbler. Yeah, most of the Lyrical Lusicnas are just free special summon fodder, and you're just going into the Starling, add another card. So this card lets you add one level 1 winged beast. So it basically searches out a hand trap, depending on the deck that you're playing, but most decks need their graveyard, right? So an excellent other card. Keep in mind, it doesn't always have to get rid of specifically monsters. You can target, back in the day, back when I played YuGiOh in a more competitive level, DD Crow is excellent for getting rid of any recycling with Glad Beast. That was like really popular, like chariots and stuff like that. Just bam, get rid of it. Excellent for that. So this is the one card that I mentioned as OCG. He activates Maxi. He only draws one off of it. I felt like it was totally fine for the gameplay. It didn't like take the Maxi challenge and one player got super far ahead of the game. But just watch what happens. There's again, Rendezvous is another card that I think is important to mention, and it is in this gameplay. Again, with the kit effect over here, being able to send another Tri-Brigade card from your deck to the graveyard. Excellent example in this gameplay. And you might be thinking like, dude, he's lost this game. No, he's gonna go and kit, go for enable. Go ahead and add the card. He's going to go ahead and take the damage over here. And now we will go ahead and see the imperm. And then also Ruck has that effect where it can't attack directly. Not that it matters now. That effect is negated. And he's going to go Saras. He's going to get, unfortunately, stopped again. But this is what makes the deck so good. So, like, going back to some people saying, like, oh, like, you know, can it deal with a bunch of back row? Kind of. It's like when you start, like, going for these effects and your opponent stops them, you just start using them all as, like, you know, material later down the line for the plays of the Link monster. So you can still make a bunch of plays from basically your graveyard for free. So he goes ahead and gets rid of Winda. And he also has this play, which you'll see here very soon. So he'll attack over at the Saras, which doesn't really matter here because the main thing is he's just got a monster with large attack. And at this point, he's basically expended most of his stall cards. He has one more contract, which is like the only, like, I guess, kind of out at this point. For the most part, yeah, I would say. That's like his go-to card to get rid of this. He's going to go ahead and hit him up with a Super Poly, go into another window so he can't extend his plays, but he'll be able to re-add back, and Ariel's going to get rid of some of the other cards. That's actually a pretty good counter to getting rid of some of the extra fodder that he would potentially have, but he's able to reset. So, okay, so here's a really important play. So he goes ahead and goes for Fractar, sends Kit then goes for Rendezvous over here, because this one lets you, where is it? You can send one level 3 or lower at Beast, so it basically like foolishes this. And this is the important card. So because Construct will be made with this is his last Construct at this point. I guess he technically has Shack, but that doesn't really matter too much. He's going to go for Construct. And remember, Construct has that effect where it's able to destroy, but it still technically has attack, and if you prevent the destruction, that would be the next thing in the line of, like, you know, rules of Yu-Gi-Oh, right? So, he is also playing Fairy Tale Snow, then not that he's going to flip this card face down anyways. So he goes ahead and goes for this play, and if you guys want to guess who actually won here, one of the players leaves. I'm pretty sure that the Tri-Brigade player still had advantage, as he's used, like, the other guy used pretty much everything. He can maybe stall, actually I can't click on this now at this point, maybe stall for like one more turn with re-adding back the card, and if he had a target with Shrek, he can actually stall quite a bit with the Fairy Tale as well. But the game just ended at this point. I'm not sure exactly who won, but you guys can tell me down below who you guys actually thought won. Like I said, I was just gathering a bunch of gameplay like all night, and there's a couple really good duels in here. And I'll also give you guys the deck profile. I just feel like it's a deck that's kind of underrated right now. When you look at like what a lot of people consider the best decks, I think a lot of people would still consider the Drytrons as really good. As they are good, don't get me wrong. I just feel like this deck it's just seen a lot more popularity within the last few days, because I've been trying to spectate to get Armed Dragon footage, which I plan to upload very soon. You know, the Armed Dragon. I honestly don't think Armed Dragon's that great. Like, you're better off just playing like Link Dragon variants. But you know, sometimes when there's cool stuff, you know, some of the stuff doesn't always have to be super meta and powerful. But this one over here is going to be focusing on Apex Avian, as this is still a really good card in Yu-Gi-Oh! So he's going to be attacking. That's going to get stopped by Crackdown, but Crackdown's going to get negated by Apex Avian. Then he's going to go Crackdown and take the Jizukuru, which is the Kaiju, just because it has a lot of stats over here. And then it can't attack or activate its effects, but, you know, hey, it's just a large body, so he can stall with Altergeist, as Altergeist is definitely oriented more around a grind game variant. So he's going to go ahead and attack with Meluseek, and he's going to send that card and make it go away. But remember, with that awesome ability, he's going to be able to at least not go super minus, at least grab himself another card. And then the Link Haribo is brought out, Marionetter, and will be coming out as well, setting the Protocol, and targeting another Altergeist, swapping it into the Silk. And once again, during the end phase, if you can protect this card and keep on summoning this, it's just too much of an advantage for a lot of players. Altergeist usually has so much background that you might not be able to get like the full effect of this, because remember, with this, it's the you just push summon a Winged Beast from your hand or deck with level equal to or lower than the total number of unused spell and trap zones on the field. And if they have too many, well, that's unfortunate for you. For you, have a bunch, but there's not too many traps. In fact, most of the gameplay that I saw, like, there is specifically a Harpy card, and I'll go over it. I've seen a lot of people use. It can help you out with turn 2, like if you're going into a board, but I think that a lot of times it's unnecessary. But it does have the instant ability to lock your opponent out, but I would say the deck has insane consistency. Again, it's literally just any of the Tri-Brigades, and then like Lyrical Lusicnas are just free summons. You just go pretty much bread and butter. You ideally Appaloosa before making this, but if your hand's bad, you can still make this, and as you guys have seen from the gameplay, you can basically win off that. And he even makes the little Futro over here, which makes it so it's unaffected by other card effects, and then it basically just stalls out. So it can't be destroyed in battle, and you take no battle damage, and he negates the pot of duality. And with that, well, he knows he has protocols because he's been bouncing it back all the dang time. But now that you guys have seen, oh wait, hold on, there's one last one. Oh, actually, this one was actually okay too. So guy goes, actually first goes for Time Thief play. And then we'll go ahead and hop into the deck profile after this one. So this is where this guy has like a bunch of answers. So he goes Time Thief. He's able to go ahead and snag a card that I wanted to talk about really quick, which is just Harpy's Featherstorm. So if you control a Wing Beast monster, you get to negate the effects of all the monster effects your opponent activates. So it's really good. But if you have a Harpy monster, you can activate this card from your hand. So that's the reason why you would have Harpy Conductor. If you're going second and you like just make that card, you just slam this card down, then bam, you're ready to go for your play. So that's why that's there. But anyways, he's going to go for Fractar and try to get that effect off. He got stopped by the Retrograde as well as the follow-up plays that you'll see very soon. But once again, it's kind of like the bread and butter of the deck. Going for this card, again, some people are opting to play the Lu Feng, some people aren't. He's going to go and stop the Redo from getting that effect. So playing King of Bio, it's just another card that brings back another card, lets you just go into a link, so it's like link, or you can go for a Seize if you want, and then you can basically get like an extra card. So you can see him deal massive amounts of damage. If he had that Lu Feng, like the other card, and went for the Ancient Warrior play, he could have OTK'd, and that's where some builds will differ. And like I said, you saw one of the builds more heavily focused on the Ancient Warriors, but there's that card being really awesome again, getting rid of that play that he had. But now you guys have seen it in action, and we've seen so much gameplay, I want to go ahead and hop right into the deck profile. So there was a lot of different build. Shouts again to all the players over here. So this one was by YuGiOh. I'm going to mouse over these quick, but they'll be in the Discord if you want to just like download them. There's nothing too specific that's important to mention that really didn't get shown off in the gameplay. I mean, King of Bio is just a spirit monster you summon, brings back another card, and then you'll be able to just go right into Link monsters. And then we have this other build by Andriel over here, and pretty much it's the same. There's also Droll Knockbird if you want to go ahead and main deck. It's just another hand trap. Unfortunately, it's not a Wing Beast. That would make it really good, but a lot of people are trying to max out on the crows. I've seen a lot of people try out 3 crows, but there's the Harpy card that I mentioned before. And then that Rendezvous card is an excellent card again as well to protect your cards, because this makes it so they also technically has bonus to gain extra attack, but if Link, Beast Warrior, or Wing Beast would be destroyed, so it lets you basically also protect this. If you are playing Apex Avian, you can just kind of recycle a little bit more, even though they can't target it anyways. But it does allow you to do a little bit more. There's also a Zeus, which we've covered before on the channel, but it's not like super important to this deck. The most important part of this is really just going for the this. I just didn't know this was even a thing. When I saw someone play it, I was like, what the heck? They can't even make it. Like I saw a build that didn't even have any of them. But yeah, I'm just going to go mouse over these relatively quick, and I'll also include them in the downloads via the Discord, but most of them are pretty much the same in terms of what people play. There's also like the Axis Kotak. You can definitely make that as well. This one is mostly going to be the Ancient Warrior variant of the deck, but I still think it's pretty cool. Like the good cards I would say is Guan Yun and Lu Feng over here, and he's also playing the 3 visits, which lets you go ahead and target one of those and add another Ancient Warrior monster. But you do have to normal or special summon an Ancient Warrior monster in order to proc that effect, which kind of unfortunate because I want to go for this usually a lot of times fat first so I can bait out anything. Like I said, this card is kind of like a Pancatrops for the archetype. This is the only one that I would consider a little different, but this one's also playing the Cosmic Cyclone, and on top of that you have Droplet, which is so good in this deck because all the other cards, if they're, you know, as long as they meet the requirements for your links for the Tri-Brigade, which is any number of Beast, Beast Warrior, or Wing Beast, that's like free extra fodder as long as you happen to have this. One's also playing the Tornado Dragon, also Firefist Tiger King, because you know that card's awesome as well. He's even playing the classic Gaga Cowboy for game, but it's just not too common to see those cards. Dweller's still good and stuff, but this is just the other variant. But anyways, once again, shoutouts to all the players. There's so many over here, so let me go ahead and at least give them proper shoutouts over here. So the YuGiOh was the guy that was piloting, but yo, shout out to everyone. the other players like YuGiOh, Lumber, also Andrek was the other player, and Jack Atlas. Shout out to you too, man. He actually had some pretty insane duels that we'll be covering later over here. But there's Pinecone and Dragotrox over there, and then another one of Andrek, and then Dino George, and then player Xyz, Boom, and Jakar, and once again Andrek for those plays. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay. If you did, drop a like on it, and if you guys are new here and do want to see more different builds of Tri-Brigades, because I think they're a very interesting archetype, and we'll definitely see more of them splash into other things in the future, hit subscribe, turn the bell, and you'll definitely see more YuGiOh content in the future. I'll catch you on the next video, and I'm out. Peace.